I've been having a long streak of going back to older stuff. I tried to play more Total Warhammer 2. I talked about this on Clem's podcast. I think I hate that game, and it bums me the fuck out. I think I love every single thing about that game and appreciate it from a distance, and I hate playing it, which makes me genuinely sad. Is the most disappointed I have been in my own tastes for a while. I'm probably still going to keep trying to give it a shot and pass that hill, but I'm not giving a lot of hope. What I've been spending with the rest of my week, I went back to Judgment, or Judge Eyes with the better name, because I got to chapter 3 in that game and I stopped, and I couldn't remember why I stopped. And then I loaded it up and I discovered why I stopped. So the Yakuza games have a lot of side content, like a crazy amount of side content. If you go look at the how long to beat, the difference between like a normal run and completionist is a fucking chasm. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I've been to those pages.
They're
very unhelpful when it comes to gauging how many episodes something would take.
Yeah. So I go to chapter 3 and I turn it on and I'm like, oh, I completed 24 of 25 of the friend quest lines in the 3rd chapter of the game, which is like 30 to 40% of the game's side content. And I maxed out the batting cages. And I maxed out like half of the restaurants.
Before chapter 3.
Before, like at the beginning of chapter 3. Like the instant they unlocked.
Okay.
Did them all.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, no wonder. So I got back in and I'm now up to chapter 6. But unfortunately, what happens in chapter 6 is you unlock Quick Starter. Quick Starter is a crowdfunding app on your character's phone in which you can donate yens to unlock things. And one of the things that you can unlock is a health drink that just gives your character experience. You go to a store and you just buy experience.
So everything
and
you
it's
did,
a lot.
Everything you did up to that point.
No, that's not the problem, Woolie.
Okay.
All that stuff was fine and carried over, and I want to max out those friend things. The problem is that it will cost approximately 60 million yen to buy enough experience. And I'm now being able to tell that the game is like balanced in such a way that if you were to just play through normally, you would not even come close to maxing out your character's skill list. You would get like a third of the way through.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah.
So then,
dude, if you just beeline a Yakuza game, you will get like 40% of your skills.
Oh wow, is there a new game plus?
You are intended to beat side quests at the very least.
Is there a new game plus?
And oh yeah, there's new game plus. There's actually really extensive new game plus options.
Okay, so that's where you get the rest of it. So then, wow, that, So then you're expected to grind to get that XP drink?
Well, no, you see, here's the thing. You don't need to do that. You don't need to have all your skills. You don't even have to have half your skills for beating the game.
Okay, sorry. I should let you finish there.
To get the final upgrade for health, for example, it's like a 20% increase on your health, but it costs like the amount of like 10 other skills. Like the final upgrade, the final list of upgrades for everything are like 100 times. Like they're the final row, which represents like maybe 5% of the total slots of skills, represent like 60% of the total amount of skill points you would need.
Okay. Well, then just spend it on skills. That's the way better way to go.
Yeah, no, I did. And now that I figured out a way to cheat blackjack in the game because the C's aren't randomly generated, and if you find the blackjack table that starts with a 9 and a jack, there's a 8 card sequence you can do so that you will always win 50,000 chips, and then you take that over to the VR cube simulator, and then you run the VR cube at the max thing so you can get 2 million yen, and then turn that into XP, and then buy the... Anyway, the point being, I hit chapter 6 on Saturday and have been doing nothing but the side content / grinding shit. And I'm almost done. I am almost done. My character is almost completely maxed out. And once it is, then I'll be able to fucking go through the rest of the game like bam, 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 bam.
You're pulling a min. You're doing a min max.
Those games are built to do that for the people who want to do that. No way I figured out the sequence myself. Hell no, I looked it up. I fucking looked it up. Jesus, people think
so. Other Yakuza games don't do this.
They all do it.
Oh.
The way that it usually works is side quests are usually the main source of your experience, and like 8 side quests unlock per chapter or something like that.
Okay, so what is the problem?
The problem is Judgment unlocks like huge, like Judgment doesn't how to put this. In Judgment, half or more of the side quests in the game are your friend quests, which is stuff like go max out the batting cages or go do all the drone races or whatever. And they're supposed to be long-term goals for the whole game instead of one and done little side missions. Right? For the average person, this would make no difference. For people who go, oh, there's a bunch of grayed out icons on my map that I can make turn green if I do them all right now. It's a slight problem because it can kind of screw up the pacing if you try and do all of it at once.
I see. Well, I mean, as soon as things were available to me in like FF7 remake, I went and did them till the max that I could.
Yeah, so FF7 is a good example, right? Because in FF7, I think Chapter 5 has the most side quests in one go, and I think it's like 6 of them, and that's like 2 hours, 3 hours, right? Maybe a little more. In Judgment, when you unlock the Chapter 3 side quests, it's like 15, 20. Somebody in the chat asks, hey, what does Pat's Witcher 3 map look like? It looks like a map that has no question marks, is what it fucking looks like. What does my Spider-Man map look like? It looks like a fucking barren slate.
As long as a game tells me where the point of no return is, I'm okay playing until I'm satisfied and then coming back and dealing with it later. So, for example, when I came back later on, I think after chapter whatever it was, where fucking Whack-a-Box gets harder, and I remember being like, oh yeah, okay. So I just ignored that, and I ignored the Colosseum, and then when I hit the point of no return, I then went back and went like, all right, time for the final cleanup, you know, which was like handy that the game kind of lets you do, tells you. So yeah, you know, I mean, I think it's
the most annoying.
All of that is fine as long as the game gives you a warning once you're at the point of no return.
The most annoying thing in FF7 is there's like, to get Aerith's limit break,
you had to do it right
like
away.
10-minute period.
Didn't realize that. Missed it. Totally missed it.
Like, yeah. I walked right out. I'm like, oh, I'll do it later. And the answer is like, no.
Yeah.
New Game Plus it, dumbass. It's like, Jesus. People are asking me, did I do all the Assassin's Creed 2 feathers? Of course I did. That's back when I cared about achievements.
That's unfortunate.
I would not have done it now.
What does Mom say?
No, I don't even remember. She says almost nothing. It was very disappointing.
Yeah. From the jump, man. From the jump. I'm like, we're touching on we're going down dangerous territory here, but you know, it's
Is it dangerous?
I mean, I like when I guess it whenever because I had larger discussions with this about so Min's brother and a guy that I used to work with both represent the worst of it, where they don't enjoy games anymore. They only enjoy achievements, and they will.
Wow, that's really depressing.
And they will literally only choose what to play based on the achievements gained per night. So they will. So like this one guy, the guy in particular, would make a list. And he would like go, this game has this many achievements I can get within the first X amount of hours, so I'm going to spend this night doing that. And he breaks it down into like literally, I will not play this game because I cannot get achievements fast enough. I can get more if I play these 3 games this night. And it was like, there's just no fun being had. Or it was...
Oh, that sounds miserable.
And like, it's like, maybe one might say that like, no, that's his way of having fun, but it was kind of just OCD to the infinity, you know?
I think, oh God, I can't remember which broke me. I want to say it's Zombie Genocider, where like getting Zombie Genocider is just so miserable that I'm like, I don't care about achievements anymore.
Right.
It's like the worst way to play the game ever.
And this was back on the Xbox 360 when it wasn't just a matter of like trophies. I don't give a fuck. I've never given a fuck, and you have to.
Oh, I don't. I mean,
you have to go look at them, right?
Trophies not giving you like a hard number will always seemed weak as shit.
Well, I don't care either way, but like you have to go look at them because they were added in after the fact because they were like a catch up that Sony had to do. But like with the 360, your gamer score was the number next to your name.
You could see it.
Everyone could see it.
It was right there.
So it really got to the core of anyone's completionism that was like, again, actual OCD, you know? So yeah, it just became a thing where it's like, yeah, this dude just like will not play games that he would enjoy, will not play games that are straight up for you because it's more important to spend time playing the games that will net me the highest gamer score.
Oh, that's fucking...
That's to me the end of the spectrum of achievements and how and why they're the worst with like
as somebody
extrinsic.
Who is inside that how do I put this? As somebody who is inside that place, I do see what you mean, but there is a fucking, how do I put this? There's a distinction to be made in my mind anyway, which is when I'm doing it and I see a map with a million things on it. Like a good example is Far Cry 4 has the same problem. I stopped playing Far Cry 4 because I was clearing out the map and I wasn't enjoying it because the stuff you do in Far Cry 4 on that map just isn't good enough. In the Yakuza series, yeah, it's usually pretty good, like by and large. And it comes more from a place of, I really like this game. I want to extract every single drop of juice out of it.
Yeah, that's it, right? It's like, are you enjoying it?
I want to get all of it.
If you're enjoying
right?
it, that's absolutely it.
And
yeah.
And for what you're describing with Min, like the game seems like incidental. Like if he was a Steam player and he cared about Steam achievements, he would just load up games that had console commands and or use that program that was going around for a while back in the day that would just give you every Steam achievement.
Yeah,
which is really funny when you look at Warframe, because Warframe has achievements for like you go up in ranks as you master weapons and you need more weapons to get higher ranks, and there's ranks all the way up to 30. But the highest reachable rank for a long time was like 26, but people had the achievements for going up to 30 because they would just unlock them by a cheat engine.
Yeah, man. I mean, whatever. Like the cheated. Like, yeah. Bah. I feel as if like to me it's always been about like the ones that are like cleverly implemented when it's like, oh, a fun interaction happened in the game that you never saw coming, and then it's like little pop up there like, yeah, that happens, you found it, you know. Or even stuff where it's like, okay, there's a challenge here, and like overcome it. You know, like get 300% stagger, right?
With Tifa, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, things like that where you're like, yeah, okay, you know, that's cool. Like I'm enjoying this process. This is fun. So that's like great. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I enjoy those things. I just feel that like there is definitely the fact that achievements are oftentimes designed not by the people that are going through the entire narrative of the game or designing the core. They're being handled by someone else in many cases. There's a dissonance in a lot of the like the design around it. You'll see
I'm still here. I'm just getting some water.
You'll see achievements that are just like go kick a bucket around for hours. Like we're just here to waste your time. It feels poorly thought out, and in some cases, you'll see things that are like, I don't know how else to word it besides meant to exploit people that are like mentally ill and compelled to seeing this bar be filled up. You know,
there's an easier word for that. It's just busy work.
Busy work, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose so.
Or padding.
And you know, and if you happen to be someone who like is just really bothered by this bar being incompleted, and it cripples you from moving forward, and you don't want to actually do this task, but you can't help but do it, that's not a net positive. That's a negative that detracts from your gaming experience, in my opinion, you know? And that's where I say that's a fucking mistake.
So, the first, there's something you just said, Wolves, that really like jumped out at me. Which was the feeling of looking at the bar and seeing the bar not be filled, and that giving you anxiety, right?
Yeah.
Or upset feelings. The core bridge to jump with OCD versus conscientiousness or neuroses or whatever is really simple. And it's the same behavior is the instant that bar shows up, I'm going to max it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is it because the bar not being full makes you anxious, or is it because it makes you happy to see the bar full?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
If the bar being empty makes you anxious and then filling it up brings you back to your default state.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's one thing. But if you're at the default state and filling the bar makes you feel really satisfied, that's something different. And to many, it's both. Like to me, it's often both. I don't like it that it's empty,
mm-hmm.
and it makes me really actually thrilled and satisfied that it is full. So I get it from both ends.
If you are somebody,
and that makes that very powerful.
If you are somebody who is enjoying what you're doing and
mm-hmm.
going out of the way to complete these things is purely a net positive, I'm not talking about you. I am not describing
so like the
anyone
Yakuza thing is
who's
a good example.
Enjoying the game in that way. Yeah.
Where the friend quests I described, most of them are really good. And the batting mini game that I described, even to max out, it's a really fun batting mini game.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. The problem is that when you do so much of that, you can screw up the pacing for yourself. So like, I forgot what was going on in the story.
Yeah. It's
like I went to a cutscene and I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Because it had been hours?
It had been months. So first it had been hours and then it had been months. And if you've ever played one of these games, Wolves, they know that, which is why the Yakuza series has a highly detailed character biography and plot synopsis part of their menu.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Where they give you a portrait of the character, up-to-date information as to what they're doing in that part of the story, what the current information you have on parts of the story is, what's happened, who's dead, etc. Because they know.
Yeah, it's that whole fulfillment versus um, absence feeling
Removal of an anxiety producing stimulus or
is
whatever.
yeah, the go to I always think of and I think bring up is Tomo Ohira, the original American Street Fighter champion, right? The guy who like was the best Street Fighter 2 player before your Daigos and before your Alex Valles, was known as the god, and then he just disappeared, you know. And when they finally caught up with him years later to find out what happened and why, it was because it got to a point where winning a tournament netted no joy, losing a tournament was agonizing. Winning a tournament was merely, okay, this is what should have happened, we're at 0. And that got so unhealthy that he had to just fucking stop.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
You'll win. If that is inside of you, you will be the best. You know, like if you're running on a completely different engine from everyone else you're competing with, that will take you to the top. But dear God, is it not worth it? But as soon as
what if the win pot was bigger back in the day? Like what if instead of fighting game player in SF2 back in the day, it was league player now?
Well, the point,
or Dota player now, when you could go to the international and win $1 million.
I mean, he seems to be pretty happy and living fine without it in his life, to be honest. But
screw happiness. What if you could be rich?
Okay, well,
it's better to be rich and miserable than poor and happy. This is known. Everyone knows that.
And for just a little bit more background on it, when he did kind of disappear, and like, you know, like decade goes by or more of just like no one knowing what's up, where he went to, what happened, there was a bit of a like, you know, a mythos of like, oh, maybe he, like, I heard he became like a poker champion. I heard he went off to, you know, start playing and he took his skills into that game. And other people, like, there's all these little things about like, why, what was it, you know? And when they finally caught up with him and this happened, all of that, like why the fuck would you walk away from being the champ? Why would you walk away at the top type of thing? Everyone immediately understood and went, oh, okay, cool, got it. Yep, perfectly makes sense. You're dying and eating away at yourself inside every time you go to a tournament.
See, here's the thing though that always bothered me. Die now, live later.
Yes. Okay. Would you
to elaborate? You can't go back to being the champ later.
Maybe.
But you can chill out later.
Some people can, it depends on what it is. Some people that are very skilled can leave and come back and still fucking crush it. What do you mean?
Say you're a football man and football stresses you out, but you're a real good football man, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could either choose to do something with your life that makes you happy, or you could go through 8 or 9 football seasons, get bank, and then never have to worry about anything else for the rest of your life. Yeah, you'll be miserable as shit for that time period, but you could just become happy later.
When you say die now, you mean like
inside?
Okay. I was like, what? How does this compare to not being alive anymore? Okay, destroying yourself for permanent happiness later. Yeah. Well, everyone makes that choice, right? You know what you often see when it comes to sports is you will see things like someone like be at the top of their game, walk away from it, and then like the bug will start scratching them, and then they'll be like, you know, I think I still got it in me, you know, and like then you hard cut to fucking Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz fighting in their fucking 50s, and you're like, what are you doing, guys? You know, because they still want to bring it back, but there's other times,
Like,
you know, what?
Like, let's take for example, like streaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
I took last week off because I was getting a little burnt out, right? I streamed a shit ton of Seven. I hadn't taken a break in like 30 weeks or whatever since October. So I was like, I'll take a week off, right? But I am a working man streamer. I'm not Ninja, right? I'm not Shroud or whatever the kids like. If I was, however, right, say I was the Ninja, I would work every single day until they put me into the fucking hospital and then quit forever. And then be done. Well, I did my part. Time to go live on an island.
Yeah, some people do that every once in a while. You know who did that? Chris Tucker.
Who's that? Yeah, Chris Tucker totally did that.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you will find someone that does that. But most people would prefer to attempt to create a healthy work-life balance and do so over a prolonged period of time.
But think about it this way. Say at 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a work-life balance of 99% work till you're 30,
Mm-hmm.
right? As long as you live past 40
mm-hmm.
and never work ever again, ever, you'll be on the winning end of that bargain.
Guess what, though? A lot of human beings feel really sad and unfulfilled doing absolutely nothing. A lot of people want even the smallest thing to do and do not mind if they have even a light task to accomplish in the long run. There is a hollowing
you have to
out.
wash yourself.
Of course. Besides that, I'm talking about work.
That's a task.
I'm talking about work, right? There is a hollowing out.
That's work. You got to use the soap and the...
There is a hollowing out that occurs when you retire and have nothing else going on in life, and people probably want to avoid that by, again, attempting a healthy work-life balance. Of course, this is super, this is not applicable to all cases. I mean, there's people that are burning themselves out. A lot of people burning themselves out just to make ends meet. So, it's not always about like die now, success later. It might be die now to hit par later, to hit zero.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, like my dad was a working man, and he worked his ass off his whole life, and then he retired.
Mm-hmm.
He retired 2 years early. I think it was at 63 because his heart was exploding all the time, and he's like, okay,
die now.
Right? And then my dad
later.
Got really bored.
Guess I'll just die.
He got really, really, really bored.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Now the situation that I'm talking about only applies to if you can die now for a short period of time to live later for the rest of your life, right? Because you're talking about a champ.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about somebody at the top of their field, right? If I was working at that grocery store still, damn sure I wouldn't be talking like, oh my God, like I'd be like, yeah, no, what? I'm going to work my ass off to death so that I can have nicer Cheerios? Nah, fuck that. But if you're like the champ or the number one or the big Hollywood celebrity or whatever, right? It's up to you to grind that out as hard as you can. And if you feel bad about it, then you just give all that to me or other deserving people. And then you can go grind more if you're bored.
Yeah, most of that is most people still don't have that. Even if you are the champ, there's still that feeling of like, I got to do something. That doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Who
hit that really bad? Sorry.
Well, I was going to say there's an intermediate step where there are people who want to do that, and you can see that they're doing their best, but also have to occasionally show up. And Eddie Murphy is someone who wants to be gone as long as possible, but when there's some bills to pay, I got a donkey inside me. I got a Netflix Dolomite special. I got something. You know, when I got bills to pay, I'll show up, pay the bills, and then re-vanish forever. But that feeling of I gotta do something, most people have that. You might not, but most people do, and that's why they don't do what you're suggesting.
So I think a really good example of this is the perfect example of the person that I hold up in the sky as how to do everything wrong is Notch. Right? Notch was a creative guy, and he made Minecraft, and Minecraft was very successful. And then Microsoft gave him infinity dollars, right? And he decided that because he had infinity dollars, what would be a really smart thing to do would be to steal a house out from under Jay-Z's nose, move all the way across the country, right? Uproot every personal relationship he has, and become a completely isolated piece of garbage. Right? And then, after all of that, complain that money ruined his life. Right? To which I would always see and say, okay, give it to me then. I will gladly have my life ruined by your Minecraft money, you piece of shit. Cry more, you big baby. Or, I don't know, give it all away to random people and charities.
Just to clarify, Dolomite was a passion project, and Dolomite was good, and he did do that. But the point I'm saying is that that was a project he took on, as opposed to not
Eddie
taking
Murphy
on
just
anything.
Eddie Murphy does rent money movies.
You know, he has. I mean, Dolomite was good. He fucking did. What was it? He did Pluto Nash at one point. And it was just like, all right.
No! Pluto Nash is woo!
Yeah. My brother was a stand-in on that movie.
What a credit.
Yeah. So, you got stuff like that. It's pretty, it's pretty, but that's it. I think that what happens is if you don't think about it too much, you're going to end up being, unless you're like you're going to end up being like, damn, I want to do something. I might need something.
I think the highest calling any human being could ever have is to become an unmoving, amorphous, cube encased blob of flesh that eats and poops and doesn't contribute anything to society, but also doesn't damage society. They just live over there in their cube. I'm saying the Matrix is the shit, basically. I'm saying we should just hook up into the Matrix.
Put me back in. You want the steak?
And just put me right the fuck back in. Right back in.
Well,
now.
And
I will shoot you if you try and take me out.
See, the problem, unfortunately, is the Matrix plugging you in is not. That doesn't need to be enough incentive. All they had to do was take you and drag you through the crowds of the big wet Zion orgy. And that would be enough for you to run back to your pod. We don't need to fucking entice you with the actual virtual world.
The real world is dirty in Matrix. The digital world is clean.
The wet, moist Zion orgies are more than enough to scare you away from the real world.
Get me back into my clean pod.
Banging on the gel. Banging on it.
Fucking Eric Andre, let me have.
Just in the infinite fields of sentinels, yeah. All right, well, can we move on?
Yeah, I don't know how we got here.
It was your week.
Oh. Judgment's really good.